This video is on quadratic applications. There are several quadratic word problems that talk about projectiles and things launched into the air. There are some words that point out what you're looking for. They often ask for when will it reach the maximum height. So what is it really asking? When it says the word when, that means we're looking for time or the x value. When it says the word maximum, that means it's looking for the vertex. So this question is really asking for the x in the vertex. Now you can find the x in the vertex by using the equation for the axis symmetry, which is x equals negative b divided by 2a. And that's all that question's asking. So when this time, that is generally the x value, when will it reach the maximum height? So maximum tells you the vertex, but we only want the x value. When the question asks what is the maximum height, so what means the y. Maximum is the vertex, so it's the y value in the vertex. So again, we have to find the vertex, which if we have already found the x value of the vertex, we would just plug or substitute the x value into the problem to find the y value. So we would just automatically take their x value and plug it in to find the actual y of our vertex. So to find the vertex, when it says maximum or minimum, depending on the type of problem it is, but maximum says vertex. That's what we want to know if it's a maximum or a minimum. You find the vertex. You can go ahead and find the entire vertex at that one time, but you just have to know what is the question really asking for. When is the x of it, and what is the y? So they'll also ask when will it hit the ground or water. So again, when means the x value, but the ground or water is asking for when it's on the ground. So it's the largest, because it's an x value, there could be multiple x values. So it's going to launch up and then come back down. So when will it hit the ground or the water is going to be the largest root / 0 / solution, which means it's the x value. So to solve for this, to find that value, you're going to factor. You'll need to factor the problem and find both of your solutions, and you'll want to know which one is the largest. The largest is going to be when it actually finally lands and it hits the ground or it hits the water. So it should be equal to 0. The problem needs to be equal to 0 so you can factor it. So these are the most common questions. But sometimes they're going to ask little things different. So the first question that might be a little different is how high is it at the start? So we're looking at how high it is at the start. So the starting point is always the y-intercept. So that's what it's asking for. What is the y-intercept? Because it says start. The height is always going to be the y value. So it's the y value of your y-intercept, which is just the value. So it's going to be, if you have the problem, it's going to be your constant number, the one value that's not multiplied to a variable. They might also ask how high, so again, the y value, will it be at a certain time? So they'll give you the time, and they want the y value. So to do this, you're looking for the y value, because it's asking for how high, looking for the y value, but to actually find it, you're going to plug in or substitute the time, whatever time they give you, in for the letter x. So you'll literally plug that value in for the x, because the time is x. We need to know what the y value is. So they might also ask, when will it be at a certain height? So again, when means x. So you are looking for the x value here. So looking, I'm not even going to look at the rest of it, looking for the x value. Okay? So when will it be at a certain height? So that certain height, that means it'll give you the height. So in order to find this, you're going to do the exact opposite of how high will it be at a certain time. You're going to plug the height that they gave you in for the y value, and then you'll solve. But what's important here is that in order for you to solve for that x value, you will have to get the problem equal to 0, so then you can factor it. So you're going to have equal to some random number, whatever your height is, and then you'll have to subtract it to get it equal to 0 so you can factor it. So these are the most common questions that they'll ask you, and these are the ways you would find those answers. So it's really important that you know when it says maximum, you're really looking for the vertex. So find that vertex by hand. Find the x value, x equals negative b over 2a, because that's the axis of symmetry, and then plug that x value into the problem to find your y value of your vertex. And then just answer the question off of when or what. If it asks when it hits the ground, you're finding the x-intercept. So generally, you're going to be looking for either the vertex, the x-intercept, the y-intercept when it asks for how high it is when it starts, and then the more difficult questions will say how high is it at a certain time, or when will it be at a certain height. So it's very, very specific for these two questions. So then you have to plug in the x for the x or the y for the y and solve for the missing variable.